Hello, everyone out there in Rumble, X, and YouTube land. Welcome back to Diego Knows. I, of course, am Diego. And today we're going to talk some more about Eat, Pray, Love. Okay, this feminist abortion of a movie. It is junk. It is garbage. This movie sends completely the wrong, unbelievable messages for women. And unfortunately, ladies out there, you were fed a manure sandwich, and not only did you bite into it, you asked for seconds. Okay, now that I see this movie, now that I've rewatched this movie, because I watched this movie a long time ago, forgot about it, but I did watch it a long time ago. It didn't mean much to me back then. Now that I watch it, I'm like, oh my god, this is ground zero. Okay, this is the reason there's so many screwed up women in the world. Is because of stuff like I can only imagine that the book, which I'm not going to read, okay, is even worse, okay, than this piece of crap movie. Okay, it's bad enough that Hollywood had to Hollywood it, and I've seen the photographs of the real principals in this story, if you want to call it that, and they look nothing like the real people. Okay, nothing like the real people. Okay, so you see a super good looking guy in this movie and you're thinking like, oh my gosh, she dated him. And then you see the real picture of the guy that he's portraying. You're like, oh, wait a minute, this guy looks like my cousin Floyd, the one who can't get a job. Like, it looks like that guy, the guy that plays, video games in his basement all the time. Yeah, that's what they look like in real life. Okay. And I'm trying to, as I watch this movie again, I'm trying to picture these situations with the real people in them, okay? And it's just not working. It's just, oh my God. Here you are, because I'm looking at this from a man's point of view. I'm not looking at this as some feminist crap. I'm not looking at this as some chick flick romance, okay? With my eyes all open, oh my God. Look at those clothes. Oh my God, that purse. Did you see her nails? Oh, and he was so romantic when he said this. And get the fuck out. No. I'm not looking at it that way at all. I'm looking at it the way a real man would look at it. Okay, and there's no men in this movie. There are no men in this movie. Okay, chick flicks are afraid of real men, and that's the problem. Okay, there's no men in this movie. Okay, and now that I see the real life photographs of these men. Okay, in relation to her life, now it makes a lot more sense. Why is every man in this movie portrayed as a limp dick beta male soy boy cuck? Why is that? Because those men in real life, not only were they limp dick soy boy beta male cucks in real life, they also looked like it. You see what I mean? They also looked like it. Okay, unlike these guys who look good, but their characters are written as soy boy, beta male, limp dick cucks. Okay, and that's what all the men are in this movie, because Liz Gilbert doesn't know any other type of men. She's never gotten close to any of the type, or no real man has ever gotten close to her. Okay, I think that's more the truth. Okay, I think she's had, honest to God, because she admittedly said in her articles that she's had a lot of sex. Okay, she went through her hoe phase. She's still going through it, I think. I don't know. Okay, so she's had a lot of sex. So she's been with a lot of men. So you cannot tell me that every single man she was with was a limp dick soy boy beta. I'm pretty sure they were not. I'm pretty sure a lot of those guys were real men with real traditional male values. Okay, about being a gentleman, but also about maintaining self-respect, maintaining their masculinity. Being kind and generous, but also not taking shit from women, not taking any lip from them. Because they don't treat her that way, so they don't expect to be treated that way in kind either. You see what I mean? That's a real man. Okay, that's the kind of man I try to be. Okay? I tolerate a lot of stuff, and I'm generous to a fault, but I will not tolerate, a woman talking shit to me the way that these women do in these movies and get away with it. No, you know why I don't talk? Because I don't talk to women that way. Okay, I don't talk to women that way. I talk that way in these movies. I mean, in these videos that I make, okay, but I don't talk that way to females in my real life. You see what I mean? Because I treat them with respect, because they treat me with respect. Okay, it's a mutual respect thing. You understand? Okay, if a woman smarts off to me, typically she don't know me. That's why. Okay, but if she does that, I just walk away from it. I'm just like, okay, whatever. Okay, But if she continues to do it, then I'm going to put her in her place, verbally, not physically, verbally. I'll put her in her place, okay? Because I don't deserve to be treated that way. You see what I mean? That's how it is. And I think everybody should be. I think women should be that way too. I don't think women should tolerate crap from men either, okay? But it's got to be a back and forth. It's got to go both ways. It needs to be mutual, okay? Not one-sided. In these movies, it's always one-sided. You see what I mean? That's what I'm talking about, okay? And, I think that's one of the characteristics of being a real man, okay? Is maintaining frame, knowing what you want and going for what you want, okay? And we don't get to see that here. We don't get to see any positive depictions of men. Like I said, these are all beta males. These are all soy boys. These are all closeted homosexuals. These are men with no self-esteem, okay? These are not what men want to be, okay? But they're very easy for women to manipulate. And unfortunately, there are a lot of men like this. You know men like this. I know men like this, okay? And it's sad, okay? Because these men don't really have any masculine role models, okay? And it's even worse today than it was when I was a kid. When I was growing up, we had masculine role models. We had Chuck Norris. We had Arnold Schwarzenegger. We had Sylvester Stallone. We had Bruce Willis, okay? We had Clint Eastwood, although that was more my dad's era, but still. The point is that we had masculine role models, okay? There was no gigantic movement against masculinity like there is today, okay? We're not allowed to have that stuff, okay? There are no male role models anymore. What does Hollywood give us as a role model? You know what they give us? They give us Timothy Chalamet. They give us Tom Holland. They give us Ezra Miller, okay? They give us little soy boys like that, okay? These are what Hollywood, Pedro Pascal, there's another one. Okay, these are the role models for men in 2026. These are not role models. Okay, these are pussies. These are pussies. Okay, and even though the mainstream media, and even though all those starlets out there, those hot girls are going, oh my God, he's so hot. Okay, they're paid to say that. They're saying that because that affects their business. That affects whether or not they're going to get a job. Okay, you see what I mean? So they have to say crap like that. Okay, to get the girl, and you girls, unfortunately, you girls have a herd mentality. If one hot girl says it, you all fucking believe it. Okay? You could see some butt ugly guy who's 4'5", beer belly, unshaven, bald, and broke as fuck. But if Kendall Jenner says that guy is hot and I want to fuck him, okay, boom! There's gonna be $5 million women all trying to fuck him at the same time. And beautiful women. You see what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. That would never happen with men, okay? If there was some fat, ugly woman with cellulite there, about 300 pounds, okay, who's so unattractive that she looks like a drag queen, if Brad Pitt comes over and says like, wow, that woman's hot and I want to fuck her, you know what all the other men are going to do? They're going to be like, dude, what the fuck's wrong with you, man? Like, I used to look up to you. You're fucking weird, dude. Oh my God. And they're not going to want to talk to him anymore. They're going to unfriend him. You see what I mean? That's what's going to happen, okay? That's how men are. That's the difference between men and women right there, okay? Right there. Just spell it out for you, okay? You want to just believe everything, okay? If someone you respect says it, it must be true, and you just go with it. That's how feminism got started. That's how all this crap happened. That's how so many women blew up their marriages because they read this book and they watched this movie, okay? That's why. Because you all don't want to think for yourselves. For all this feminist bullshit, you want someone else to do the thinking for you, unfortunately. Okay, you see this crap and you think this is going to happen to you. You think that you're special. You think you're one in a million. You're one of a million. And this stuff's not going to happen to you. You know what happens, okay, when you leave your husband in real life so that you can go on the cock carousel all over the world? So you can stuff your face and fuck a lot of guys. You know what happens, okay? You ruin your fucking life. That's what happened. And you know what? That husband, he ain't going to take you back. You're going to end up with some piece of shit guy. Because that's the only kind of guy that's going to want to go out with you. You see what I mean? And now you're not young anymore. You're not pretty anymore. You're jaded. You wasted the best years of your life on this fucking pipe dream that you can have it all. Bitch, you don't fucking deserve it all. Nobody does. And nobody gets everything that they want. You see what I mean? Happiness has to come from within, not from without. And this movie's telling you, if you want to be happy, fucking leave everything and go out there. Go out there. That's not how real life works. You know, I mean, marriage isn't just something you walk away from. It's something you got to work at. It's something you have to maintain. It's something you have to think about before you do. You see what I mean? That's what it's supposed to be, at least. I don't know how to say it any other way. Okay, these role models that the women have today, you know what? You know, when I was growing up, they told me, my mom told me, there's a lot of crappy men in the world. You know, and she used my dad. Okay, my dad cheated on my mom a lot. Okay, that's one of the reasons they got divorced. Okay, my dad was a player, and my mom did not like that about him. Okay, so there, now you got some information on me. All right, okay, but my mom used to complain a lot about guys. Like my mom used to watch Dallas. Okay, that was a soap opera from the late 70s, early 80s. Okay, it's very popular. I'm sure those of you my age, your parents watched it. Your moms watched it. Your grandmas watched it. Okay, they know who Larry Hagman is. All right. They know who J.R. Ewing is and who Sue Ellen is. And I actually met Sue Ellen last year, and I met Bobby Ewing too, Patrick Duffy. I met them last year, but that's a different story. At the same time, I met Morgan Fairchild. Yes, I did. Anyway, my mom used to watch that stuff, all right? And J.R. Ewing, okay, he was the main character on the show. He was this just degenerate man. He was very successful. He was wealthy. He controlled the family fortune, the oil industry here in Dallas, you know, and he was such a player. He was a manipulator, a schemer, a womanizer out there, cheating on his wife all the damn time with like some really hot women. Okay, he was a scumbag. I mean, he had a heart of gold. Like, he was loyal to his family. He loved his parents. He loved his brother. He actually loved, I mean, he cheated on Sue Ellen all the time, but he did love his wife. Okay, and she cheated on him too. So let's not make her into something special, all right? So, but you know, he was a bad guy. I mean, he was a bad boy. He was very selfish, very narcissistic, very controlling, very masculine. Okay, and women loved him and they hated him. They hated the fact that he could get any woman that he wanted because he was good looking, smart, and rich and powerful. Okay, but they hated the fact that he was cheating on his wife as well, okay? Because they loved Sue Ellen. They built her up as a really good character, a strong woman who was married to this asshole of a husband, okay? And so the women would go back and forth between feeling sorry for Sue Ellen and then being happy for her when she's cheating on him. Because she's a smart woman too, you know? She wasn't some pushover one. She was not some weak woman, okay? Sue Ellen wasn't, okay? So they would go back and forth. Well, I respect Sue Ellen. I don't like her husband cheating on her. I hate JR for the way he treats his wife, but damn it, there's just something sexy about him. You see what I mean? So it was kind of a confusion, and this little roller coaster here, okay, of playing with him, from hating him to getting turned on by him, and then hating him, and then getting turned on by him. This is what carried the entire show, okay? Playing with people's emotions, playing with women's emotions, not because men didn't watch this shit, okay? Playing with women's emotions. That's what did it, okay? He was the bad boy. That's what women latched onto. That's what they found attractive, okay? This guy that broke the rules. You see what I mean? And yet the entire time he did this, okay, he maintained his masculinity. He never had to apologize to any woman for having a dick. He never had to apologize to any woman for getting turned on by a hot ass, okay? He never had to apologize for that stuff. He didn't have to, okay? He was a man. Was he a good man? No. A great man? Yes. But a good man? No. I understand that we're talking about a fictional character, okay? But the character he portrayed, J.R. Ewing, okay, was he a great man? Yes. Was he a good man? No. Personally, he was a scumbag, okay? But he didn't need to be a good guy. He didn't need to bring girls flowers. He didn't need to write poetry to them or any of that shit, take them to a chick flick to get laid, okay? The women came on to him, and they knew he was married, and they still came on to him, okay? Young, hot women came on to him, okay? Women that were half the age of his wife came on to him. Okay, you see what I mean? And he had to do that stuff because of what he was. He was masculine. Okay, masculinity. Masculinity will get the girl. Okay, whether or not you're a good guy or a bad guy. Now, in JR's case, he was a bad guy. But the point still remains the same. Masculinity will get the girl. Okay? This woman, Liz Gilbert, doesn't understand masculinity because the masculine men that she fucked did not want her. They discarded her because they knew her for what she was. She was a Tuesday night. That's all she was. She was, okay, I got drunk one night and I fucked some girl I brought back to my hotel. Big deal. I ain't gonna see her again, so fuck her. That's what she was. She was disposable. Okay? And this whole book is her trying to reconcile that. Okay? By blaming men. Okay, she doesn't talk about the masculine men that she really liked, the J.R. Ewings that she fell in love with, that she really wanted to be with, that discarded her, that saw her for the tramp that she was and got rid of her, didn't want anything serious with her, didn't want to take her seriously at all. Okay, she leaves those men out of this book, out of this movie. They're not in there because that would make her look bad. So what she did is she stuffed the book and the movie with a bunch of beta males, weak men, insecure men, men that depend on her for everything. That their validation is dependent on what she feels about them. That's what she turned this book into. That's what she turned the movie into. That's what they turned the movie into. So here's this woman who's strong, tough, empowered, smart, beautiful, middle-aged woman, okay, with no kids, career girl, boss bitch, surrounded by weak, insecure, stupid, lonely, desperate men, if you want to call them men. Okay? Okay, it's really easy to be a giant when you live in a land full of midgets. You see what I mean? And that's what she is. She's surrounded herself with midgets to make her look taller, to make herself look taller. Okay, that's exactly what this movie is. That's probably what the book, I never read the book. I'm pretty sure that's what the book is. Explaining to you why she's better than men. Okay? Men are stupid, they're irresponsible, okay? They're crybabies, they're whiny, they can't control their emotions, okay? They're all these things, whereas she's none of those things because she's a woman. You see what I mean? It's a load of shit, and that's what they're trying to sell you. Okay? Women good, men bad. So fuck them. Can you imagine what that would be like? Can you imagine if every man out there right now just decided to be like J.R. Ewing? Just decide, you know what? Fuck women. I wonder how women would handle that. I wonder how women would handle Hollywood making a movie where men did that. And not only were they applauded for it, they were given high fives. Not only that, but the men would go back and rewatch those movies over and over again. Can you imagine that? What that would be like if they were to make a chick flick on a men's standards, okay, where the women get treated the way men get treated in these movies. Can you imagine that? Not only would the movie theater industry be way back in business, but I think it would inspire a lot of men to want to be men. You know, I think it will inspire a lot of kids to tell their moms, hey, mom, don't cheat on dad. Stay with him because he's my father and I want to learn from him. And if you cheat on him, he's going to divorce you. And then, you know, I don't want, you know, one of your boyfriends pretending to like me. You know, I'd rather my dad take care of me. I'd rather y'all stay together. You know, see stuff like that. Instead of this fucking, hey, mom, I know you want to fucking leave us and go to fucking Rome and stuff your face and fuck a lot of guys, but could you please not do that to dad? Because, you know, we need dad in our lives, you know, and we need you to be our mother, you know, and I don't want to grow up making the same mistakes as you, so I'm kind of hoping you can be a good role model for me. You can be an example of the type of woman that I want to marry, okay, and not break dad's heart and watch how he struggles with that, okay? You see what I mean? Something like that. Okay, I think that would do a lot more good than crap like Eat, Pray, Love. All right, moving right along where we left off last time. Liz was talking to Rich and he gave her this big speech about his backstory. They're at the ashram, the Hindu temple. He went to the roof. He basically told her that he's a drunk. He was a drug addict. He cheated on his wife all the time and he got drunk one night. He drove his car. He almost ran over his son when he was pulling into the driveway. Okay, his 8-year-old son. Luckily, his son jumped out of the way. He did not kill his son, but his wife saw it from the window. Then when he woke up the next day, his wife had left him and taken the kids. Okay, that was 10 years ago. He has not seen his children or his ex-wife since then. Okay, he's still beating himself up over it for those mistakes, and that's why he decided to renounce Christianity and become a Hindu, okay, and go all the way to Calcutta, okay, and you know, study with the yogis over there and do all this worthless crap because he can't find a way to forgive himself. And guess what? He still can't, okay, because Liz, when she's up there, she asks him, did you forgive yourself? And he changes the subject. He just tells her to forgive herself. So he's telling her to do something that he himself has never done, okay? Because that's how these movies are written, okay? You can't ever have a man, you know, school a woman on anything. She's got to be better than him. He leaves Calcutta, okay? Still having forgiven himself for the mistakes he made, okay? Blowing up his family, losing his family. But yet here, Liz is about to forgive herself, okay, for divorcing her husband, okay? So that she feels no guilt over what she did, okay? Like I said in the last video, I don't really understand what she's guilty about. She already made amends to him. Yes, she broke his heart. Yes, she cheated on him, okay? And I do mean she was married. She was still married when she was sleeping with David, okay? That's technically cheating, okay? And once they're divorced, it ain't cheating anymore, okay? She still did all that stuff, okay? She still fucked him over, you know, and everything like that, okay? But she made amends to him, okay? She let him get everything in the divorce. So he got everything, okay? So she didn't walk away from that divorce settlement, okay, with anything. Just what she had before she married him. I mean, I think that was honorable. I think that was fair. That was the least she could have done. She's the one that dissolved the marriage. He wanted to stay married to her. Why? Why did he want to stay married to Liz? Because he's a limp dick, soy boy, beta male cuck. That's why. Because that's the only kind of men that Liz would ever date, much less marry. You see what I mean? Okay, so all that happened. Okay, so she imagines that Steven is there, her ex-husband, and that they're dancing again at their wedding. This time to the right song, because at their actual wedding, they danced to a disco song, Celebration by Kool and the Gang, 1980. Celebrate good times. Come on. Let's celebrate. Oh, yeah, I'm a disco king. All right, so all that happened. This time they're dancing some other stupid song that I don't give a crap about. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Like I said, Liz is great at breaking up with men. She's so good at it that she doesn't know how to keep a man. And that's the truth, okay? Any man looking for a serious relationship knows that Liz is a pump and dump, okay? She's smoked more meat than Hickory Farms, okay? She has that 1,000-cock stare, okay? That woman's been fucked so many times, she don't know whether she's coming or going. Okay, she has no idea how to pair bond with a man. She has no idea how to be a girlfriend because she's never been a fucking good one. Okay, she has no idea how to be in a committed relationship. She has no idea how to give to her partner. She only knows how to receive from her partner. You see what I mean? She's a narcissistic, selfish piece of shit, and this movie praises her for it. They call her strong and empowered for it. No, she's not. She's a narcissistic piece of fucking shit. Okay, if any man were to do what she does in this movie, women would call him immature and sexist. Okay? And insecure. Okay, but when a woman does the exact same thing, no, she's strong and empowered. She's a boss bitch. You go, girl. Get yours. You see what I mean? It's a load of fucking shit. Okay? So Rich is now leaving the ashram, like I said. He's done. Okay? He's got to go back to the United States. Okay? They get a big. He gives Liz a big hug goodbye. Rich calls Liz Groceries. He doesn't refer to her by her actual name. He calls her Groceries because the first time he met her, well, he's been cranking his neck and spying on her the entire time she's been at the ashram. But when he first started talking to her, he noticed that she ate a lot of food. So he calls her Groceries because she got baggage and she eats a lot of food. Okay, because she just came from Rome where she fucking stuffed her face and gained all this weight. All right. Okay, so he tells her, he says, hey, Groceries, before he gets in the taxi, he goes like, hey, Groceries, believe in love again? Okay, yeah, like a gay guy, he says it, and then he gets in there, okay? Because that's the most important thing to him, is that she gets back with a man and fuck him over too, because that's what she's really in love with, fucking over men, all right? So Liz smiles sadly, you know, like that, okay, as he gets in the taxi, okay. Liz's roommate starts speaking again, Maria. I don't know why the fuck she's in this movie. She only has this is like the only line she has in the movie. We've seen her earlier. She had a silent sticker on, which means that she's not allowed to speak to anybody, okay, but now it's gone. So now she's fucking chatty Cathy, okay, won't fucking shut up. Turns out she's British. She's a British woman, okay. Okay, she turns, you know, and she won't shut the fuck up. But Liz is in her silent phase. So Liz got her silent sticker off, so she ain't talking to anybody now. Okay, Liz has been promoted to as liaison for the new white libtard middle-aged American British women who are arriving. So now Liz is promoted to the liaison. So all the middle-aged white British and American women who left their fucking husbands to ride the cock carousel and are coming to Calcutta, you know, to be absolved of it, you know, to feel better about themselves for being a fucking whore and breaking up their families. They're all arriving now, and they need Liz to be the liaison and show them around and teach them what the rules are, or show them where the rooms are, all that kind of shit. But so Liz decides to take off her fucking silent sticker and help her sisters. Okay, so that's what she does. Okay, the official title for this liaison position is called Little Susie Cream Cheese. I'm not fucking making that up. That's something a gay guy wrote or a libtard woman wrote. Okay, an ugly, middle-aged white woman wrote. Okay, yeah, Little Susie Cream Cheese. Okay, the position, the Little Susie Cream Cheese. Her job description is she must be social, bubbly, and smiling at all times. Well, Julia Roberts got a mouth that's like 2 miles wide. So yeah, I can see that. Okay, Liz removes her silent sticker. She agrees to be the fucking Little Susie Cream Cheese. All right, so the newbies arrive, all white women. Okay, Liz watches over them. Okay, she has an epiphany while she's doing this. Okay, and we get to hear what her epiphany is because we don't get to see her talk. She doesn't talk to anybody. We're listening to her thoughts here. Okay, she's narrating. Okay, she figures something out while she was in Calcutta in the ashram. She figured out that God dwells within you as you. God dwells within me as me. Now, this is something I actually did remember. I remember this from when I saw the movie like 15 years ago. Okay, and I remember that phrase, God dwells within me as me. God dwells within you as you. Okay, to me, the way I interpreted that, and I actually agree with it, is that God actually exists as you. All of us are a part of God. I think we're all alive. So God is experiencing the universe as us. Another way to say that is that God is that we, all of us, all living creatures, is the universe being aware of itself. You see what I mean? I think we're all connected to that force that creates and controls everything. I honest to God believe that. In my heart, I do believe that. I do believe we're all connected by one force, the same force that created everything in existence. Okay? And that's what Liz comes to terms with here. And I actually agree with that. And I didn't need to go to some ashram in Calcutta. I didn't need to divorce my spouse. Okay, I didn't need to stuff my face with a lot of fattening food in Italy to figure all this shit out. Okay? If you really think about it, it kind of makes sense. It goes back to the respect. If you really understand that, okay, that all of us are God in some way, I think you would be a lot nicer to people. I think you would have more respect for other people. You see what I mean? Regardless of who they are. Okay? That's the way I try to live my life. All right? But, if you're a narcissistic piece of shit, then you're not necessarily going to agree with those values. Okay? You see what I mean? You're going to hold on to this information like it's a secret that only you possess, that nobody else can know about. You see what I mean? And I think that's what Liz is doing here. Okay? She's trying to justify all of her actions. She's trying to convince herself that she's a good woman. Okay? When there's something about it that tells her, no, a good woman doesn't do the things that you do. You see what I mean? All right. So later on, an elephant tries to befriend her. Why? Clearly, Julia Roberts acts like she's scared this elephant is going to fucking knock her off her mark or something. But it's there. It's an image. She's touching an elephant. Julia Roberts is touching an elephant. Okay? Why? I have no fucking idea. But it's there. Okay? And then she leaves India. So that chapter's done now. Okay, now she's going back to Bali, which is where this movie started. She's going back to Indonesia. Now, the last time she was in Indonesia, she was on her bicycle by herself. Her husband did not go with her to Indonesia because she was married back then. Okay, and she saw some some shaman in some little fucking village there in Bali. Okay, out in the sticks, out by the rice paddies. Okay, and this shaman, his name is Ketut. Yes, this toothless old man. He basically told her, he speaks really good English too. Okay, in fact, everyone there speaks really good English. Okay, and they're out in the sticks. They're out in the sticks of fucking Bali, out in the country of Bali, all right? And she gets there and he reads her fortune, okay, which is all bullshit. And he tells her that she's going to have 2 marriages. One will be short, one will be long. Well, clearly she's already married when she had this vision, when she met this guy. So she asked him, well, am I in the short one right now or the long one? Okay, we don't know. Then he tells her that she's going to lose all of her money. That makes her shit herself. But then he tells her, but she'll get it all back. Well, we already know what that was. She lost everything in the divorce to Steven. Okay, so clearly that must have been the short marriage. All right. And actually, I think in real life, her husband, the real life Steven, his name was Michael Cooper. They were married from 94 to 2002. So that's what? That's 8 years. And then the new guy, the guy that she meets in this movie, that's Felipe. His real name was Jose Nunez. And they were married from 2007 to 2016. That's 9 years. Okay, so technically he's correct by 1 year. Okay? Her first husband she was married to for 8 years. Her second husband, the guy that she's going to meet here in Indonesia, they were married for 9 years. Okay? But they separated before that because she was cheating on him with a fucking woman. All right? But yeah, but none of that stuff has happened yet. So this movie's going to end with a happy ending. All right? Okay, so that's going on here. Okay, she gets to Bali. She's back on the bicycle. She wants to meet up with the stupid ass fortune teller, the rip-off artist. Okay, woman. So she goes back there to see him again. His name is Ketut Lier. Okay, and there's this fat English-speaking Indonesian woman there who is just eavesdropping on everything. Okay, and she's always interjecting herself when Liz least expects it. Okay, so she'll be having a conversation, and all of a sudden she'll say something, and that woman will just jump out like, "No, you can't do that," and she's like, "Okay," like shit like that, just injecting herself into the conversation. All right, this fat Indonesian woman. Okay, so when she gets there, guess what? The shaman Ketut does not recognize Liz at all. Okay, she reminds him about her helping, that he told her, one of the fortunes that he told her is that one day she will come back to Bali and see him, and he will teach her his magical powers, and in exchange for that, she's going to help him with his English. Although his English is good enough, okay? It looks like there's plenty of people in that little village there who speak fucking English, okay? So I don't think he really needs her to teach him English, okay? But anyway, so she reminds him about all that, okay? And that he promised to teach her how to bullshit people for money, okay? And shows him the gift shop poster that he gave her the last year, which was that stupid Hindu picture, whatever. It was, had a three-legged creature. It was stupid. It was stupid, okay? Anyway, it's something you get out of a postcard at the airport, all right? But he gave it to her, and she like held on to it, and looking at that poster, that little picture he gave her, inspired her to make this fucking trip. Okay, to Rome, to India, and to Indonesia. Okay, so that's going on here. Okay, and now he remembers her. He's like, you, Yeah, this goes on for like 5 minutes. All right, you come back here. Last time you have too much worry inside. You have too much worry last time. You look like set up woman. You look like set up woman. Okay? Now you ready. Now you ready. Like just crap like that. All right? Like how the fuck would you know that? He tells her to hide here in his hut. Okay, to stay in his hut because he's got a lot to explain to her, okay? Okay, so he shows her his ancient book of spells that he keeps in a fucking little box. Okay, and and he lets her read them. How the fuck is she supposed to translate Indonesian? Okay, she didn't bother to learn the only language she bothered to learn was fucking Italian. Okay, she didn't learn fucking Hindu, and she sure as fuck didn't learn Indonesian. Okay, so how the fuck is she gonna translate? So that's what she's doing. She's just copying all the words into a notebook. All right, so that's going on here. Okay, like why the fuck would this old man fucking just give her his stuff like that? Let her have access to that stuff. Okay, he lets him read it. Okay, he doesn't remember. She asks him how old he is. He says he doesn't remember. He says he's 101 years old, or he could be 64 years old. He's like, I don't remember. Okay, well, yeah, but you know how to tell people their fortunes, but you don't even fucking know how old you are. Okay, she copies the text by hand in her notebook. She just writes it all down. Okay, and this is going to take her forever. Okay, she's not allowed. That fat woman tells her that she's not allowed to take those manuscripts out of the village. They must stay in the village. Okay, so what do you do when you're put in that situation? Simply, you just steal them. You steal the manuscripts, and then you go into town, okay, where they actually have a fucking Xerox machine, and you just make copies, all right? And that's what Liz does, okay? Okay, that's how she shows her respect to the fucking shaman, is by stealing his shit, all right? So that's going on here, okay? That fat assistant woman there tells Liz that he make you pretty. Find you husband. You work hard for him. Everyone need husband. Okay, so of course, this means that like every woman around the world, they're all sexist. Okay, because they all think that a woman's job is to get married. Okay, and to have kids. Okay, which goes against the feminist agenda. That's one of the reasons this movie is so important. Is she needs to spread feminism all over the world. Okay, this isn't the first woman that told her this. Okay, she already hates her best friend Delia, the black woman, Viola Davis in New York, because Viola Davis had the audacity to give birth to a child. Okay, Liz thinks that's disgusting. Women are not here to give birth to babies. That is not their purpose in life. Their purpose in life is to get promoted to CEO and be a boss bitch, not to squeeze out fucking disgusting little kids. Ew, that's so fucking gross. All right? It's not to fucking stay loyal to your husband or to stay in a long-term relationship. It's to fucking leave when you fucking feel like it. That's what a woman's supposed to do. Okay, when she goes to fucking Italy, she meets this old Italian woman there. The first thing she thinks about Liz when she finds out Liz is like 42 years old and single is that she must be a fucking lesbian. Okay? And then she also says that you're never going to get a husband, okay, by hopping around the world riding the cock carousel. And then Liz has to school her and tell her, well, you know what? Being a woman is not about getting a husband. Okay? It is about being a boss bitch. Like that. Okay? Same thing in India. Okay, in India, she met this woman, Tulsi, who was in an arranged marriage, 17 years old, and she has to marry fucking Mohinder Rakasnakarak Patel, the guy that owns your fucking 7-Eleven. And she don't want to marry him because she wants to be a psychiatrist in New York and be a boss bitch with no fucking kids or a butt ugly husband, okay, to be married to be anchored to, okay? And Liz, no, I want to be like you, Liz. I want to just leave my husband and never get married and be an American. You see what I mean? Okay, so it's praise what Liz does. And now here she is in Indonesia, and here's this fat fucking Indonesian woman telling Liz that her goal in life should be to find a husband, get married and treat him well. Okay, holy fucking shit. That ain't gonna happen in a chick flick. Fuck no, that goes against everything that feminism and these chick flicks and Julia Roberts in particular believe in. How dare you love your fucking husband? How dare you sacrifice your life for your fucking spouse? Only men are supposed to do that, not women. Not women. Women are there to be boss bitches, not to be wives, not to be mothers. Okay, so clearly Liz is gonna have to school this fat tub of fucking patriarchy about her sexist views. Okay, so all that's going on here. Okay, Liz does correct this fat woman. Tells her, no, I'm a boss bitch. Okay, I'm not here to get a husband. Okay, I am a boss bitch. I don't need no man. Okay, that's the opposite of why I'm here. Now go get me a glass of water. Yeah, that's what she tells her. This is what she tells her, okay? And like I said, what does Liz do? She steals the sacred texts. Yes, that's how much respect she has for the shaman. She steals his texts, the texts that he has, the little manuscripts that he has, okay, that gave him his magical fortune-telling powers. She steals them and puts them in her sack. Okay, and then she gets on her bicycle and goes back into town. Okay, she steals. That's how much respect she has. That's the kind of person that Liz is. She can't even fucking respect the rules of this little tiny fucking hut. Okay, you know why she can't respect the rules? Because she don't give a shit about this fucking fortune teller. She don't give a shit about his customs, his traditions, his powers, none of that. She doesn't give a shit about the cultural norms or the opinions of the people that live in Indonesia. All she gives a shit about is herself and what she can get out of all this. What's in it for me? You see what I mean? This whole bullshit about respecting the shaman, okay? That he can actually tell her future, and that's why I have to go to Indonesia, because he gave me a sign. Okay, that's all bullshit. She just cherry-picked what she wants. You see what I mean? She just cherry-picked circumstances to justify her own behavior, to justify why she's doing what she's doing. You see what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. She has no respect. This woman has no respect. So why the fuck should anyone respect her? Oh, because it's a bullshit movie. That's right. I forgot. Everyone just loves and respects her for no fucking reason. Okay, I guess they do it just because, she can turn food into shit. So that's something, I guess, that every other fucking person can't do. So I guess that's a good enough reason for everybody just to fall in love with her and want to fucking be her best friend and would just follow her around everywhere. All right, because she can turn food into shit. There you go. That's a good enough reason for me. Okay, I'm going to stop my review right here, but I'll be back to continue my review of this really crappy movie. I thank you very much for watching this long, and I'll see you soon on the next one. Bye.